Welcome to Your Cyber Path, the podcast that helps you get your dream cybersecurity job by sharing the secrets of experienced hiring managers and top cybersecurity professionals with you. Now, on to the show.
So now we're going to switch roles, and I'm going to ask Kip a question, and we'll see how well he responds. So, Kip, thanks for joining us today. How can you verify that a file has not been modified by an attacker on a system when you're working as a cybersecurity analyst?
Well, what I would do in that case is I would grab the file, and without changing it, I would actually use a utility to generate a digital signature for that file. And then once I've got that signature and making sure that I'm using a modern algorithm and a key length that is also considered to be secure, I now have a basis for doing a comparison. And so since I'm starting with the file that I suspect has been compromised, I will now have to go and retrieve the file that is known to be good. And I might do that by doing a file restoration from a backup. I would then repeat the digital signature process on the restored file. That would then allow me to compare them to know if they were the same or not. If they were not the same, that's when the real work would begin, because I'd have to launch some kind of a diff command to identify, to really have a computer hone in on what had changed.
Good response. Yeah, the only feedback I'd have on that is I'd be careful about saying digital signature in the response like Kip did. And the whole reason I'm saying that is digital signature is a type of hash, but it is not the only type of hash, right? And in this case, if I'm looking at a file on the file server that I think is corrupted, for instance, Jason's taxes 2019, you're not going to have a digital signature on that file, but you may have a hash value you can run a hash off the backup from 3 years ago and then a hash on the current file system and see what the difference is. So all that is the same except for saying a hashing algorithm instead of a digital signature, because a digital signature requires that you're using a PKI infrastructure and you have something to encrypt it with. And you don't necessarily have that if you're dealing with a file on a hard drive. So just keep that in mind as you're working through those. The other thing, that I think is good is, when we talk about a file that may be modified by an attacker, it depends on what the file is that we're researching, right? So if you think that it is a system file, you're on a Windows 11 system, and you think that one of the system files has been modified by an attacker, how would you validate that? Well, there's a lot of ways to answer that question, right? One of the ways is we can use SFC, which is the system file checker. And if you've ever used system file checker in Windows, all it's doing is checking hash values of your current system against what Microsoft says is the valid hash for those. And if they don't match, it says that file has been tampered with. We don't know why. We don't know how. We don't care. Let's replace that file with a known good copy from our digitally signed version from Microsoft. And so that's just something to keep in mind.